What is going on, my cold-blooded army? We have not done a company update in a while, so I just wanted to get you one real quickly. We finally got our reptile room pretty much all finished up and ready to rock, so I'm gonna give you guys a quick look around at that, and we will go on. I got a message from my buddy Deshido. He wants to see a full video on African fat-tailed geckos, so we will knock that one out for him. And you guys, anytime you guys have questions on anything, you want to see something specifically, please reach out. I'm more than happy to do what I can do and tell you what I can tell you. It's generally a pretty quick video, I'll tell you that much too. So the coolest update by far this week is we finally had our first batch of baby rats born. Not to bother her too much. It's our little Dumbo rat, and she was actually a rescue. There's one right there underneath her. She actually had, oh, sorry, dropped one. She actually had 12 babies for us, and so that is super, super cool. Colossus is the daddy back there, and its cage is not dirty. It's an old fish tank, and so there's some water spots and things like that on there. But I kind of had that weird realization with the 12 babies. I was like, man, this is awesome. I don't have to worry about buying any. And I'm going through like 25 or 30 a week, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to invest in a few more females and see if we can start growing that collection a little bit more. People said to be careful because it will get ahead of you real quickly, but we need that right now. So I will see what I can do on that and maybe get some more going. It's be awesome. You did a good job.
Daddy, don't do that.
So we do have everything, like I said, finally got everything wired. It's getting cleaned up a little bit more. We did get all the electrical run, and so basically just extension cords off of the single outlet that we have in here. I'm not sure why we don't have more, but we got everything running down to where it needs to be, and we got everybody set up and wired in. So now everybody's on their timers, everybody's on their misters and their foggers, and everybody is happy and healthy and warm. We still have the snake racks inside until we can get our garage a little bit better insulated. Trying to see where she went. I guess she is all the way under there. We did get the rest of the walls up in here, and then we insulated really well around it to keep the garage, just keep the airflow down and make sure that everything is good to go on that, and make sure we keep all of our buddies nice and happy and warm and cozy as winter sets in. It's supposed to be down in the upper 30s tonight, so hopefully we can maintain in here pretty well. It's sitting at 81 degrees in here in the tire garage, which is not too bad. Everybody has heat pads and heat lights, and so they are all pretty happy and staying warm, which is always a wonderful thing. Alright, so like I said, Deshido wanted to see a video on the African fat-tailed geckos, and so I'm going to do one of those real quick. These guys are so awesome and they're so much fun. They're so easy to take care of too. This is a 40-gallon setup, or it's the 40-gallon footprint. It's a little bit shorter though, since they don't need that height, but it's, I think, 2 or 2.5 feet across and then 2 feet deep, so it is a good sized tank. These guys are super cool, always laid back, always relaxed. The temperament, like I said, a lot like the leopards. Very easy to take care of on these guys. I went with the coconut fiber bedding. It's easier to digest, also holds the humidity. As far as care, like I said, these guys are similar to the leopards, but they do need a higher humidity point, usually around 60, sometimes 70%. So they get misted fairly regularly. I did do some plants in there just to kind of help maintain it. One of the cool things I found out about these guys is working with them, it's a little bit dirty, I did that on purpose. We can go across the entire cage here, they kick some of their worms out, but there's only poop in one corner. I have 2 females and a male in here, and they go to the bathroom in the exact same spot. And I don't know if that's typical of all of them, I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. And most breeders put them in the rack systems, and so I wanted them to have a little more space in that and wanted them to be on display. You can keep a pair, they say, in a 10-gallon tank, and that just seems so small to me, so I'd rather give them more space to play. And these guys are so cool. This is one of my little girls. One of the cool things about these guys as far as their colorations is most people will look at that and say it's albino, and with these you kind of have to specify because there's 2 different strains of albinism in these. One of them is a oh gosh, can't even think of it, tangerine line, and then this is just the regular. And so instead of calling them albino, people always refer to them as amelanistic, or amel for short, and it's just kind of a fancy way of saying your skin ain't right. So they are just atypical melanism, amel for short, and these guys are basically just the albino version of the regular. Move her out of the way. Now, my big boy is a regular, here's my other female A-male, if I can get her out of there. And she has a little stripe down her back, a little bit different from my other female. And then our big male in here, see if I can get him to come out. Come on, buddy. Has the stripe as well, and he is just a normal, but beautifully marked. He's my buddy. When I got him from the breeder, he had a regenerated tail. Like most gecko species, they can drop their tails, and so as babies, they get stressed out. Not as much as a leopard gecko. Some of the leopard geckos seem like they drop it in the cup, just sitting there if you have them in deli cups. And so he lost his tail, regenerated it. It's big and fat. You can tell it's not a normal one, but it is not. Doesn't look bad. So these guys, like I said, are easy. You want to keep the warm end, keep a basking area mid-90s, warm end upper 80s, cooler end around 70, just to make sure that there is plenty of room for them to get around. I did do a hide on each side so that way they can get under and hide. They're nocturnal, so you don't have to do UVA or UVB. And I do the vitamin supplements and the calcium supplements in the food to make sure that they're getting their D3 through that and everything else that they would get from UVA and UVB exposure. So these guys are so much fun to work with, always a good attitude. Like I said, they're nocturnal, so I woke them up, and they're still not mad, and they're happy to be handled and played with. And these are actually my little girl's geckos, and she loves them so much. She gets them out and plays with them, and they're happy to be messed with, happy to be handled, and they are cool. So we're going to see what happens as far as breeding. There's some gecko breeders that will say that if you keep them in the same cage like this, that they'll basically be friends and they won't breed. And so we're not trying to breed it, but if it happens, it happens. We're keeping an eye on them, making sure that they all stay happy and healthy and not competing for food, but also trying to make sure nobody gets pregnant without us noticing. So that is the basics of what I know on the fat-tailed geckos. Definitely, if you're looking for something that is similar to a leopard gecko, but you want something that's a little bit different, just different style, these are a good way to go. Not everybody has these. They're a little less common, and they are absolutely beautiful and adorable and fun to work with. Food-wise, these guys are super easy. We throw the freeze-dried mealworms in there, sprinkle them with some powder. They always have crickets running around in there all over the place. You can probably hear them chirping in the background. Always make sure that they have food running around. We actually had them breeding background. This is like a styrofoam backdrop that they have in some of the Exoterra and the Zoomeds. And somehow the crickets got behind there and started breeding. So we now have free crickets in there running around, which is awesome. But it doesn't get any easier. Some crickets, some worms. I do live every once in a while as well, just to give them something to change it up. I've offered them pinkies every once in a while. They'll take one, but usually they're just crickets and worms, and that'll do it. So if there's any questions on that, or if I'm off on that, let me know. I do always sprinkle stuff with the calcium powder, and I make sure, since they don't have the UVA and UVB, that I give them the D3 supplement as well, and then try to do random multivitamins with them just to make sure that they are getting everything that they need. All right, guys, message today. I am kind of tired and I'm worn out. I'm not feeling too hot. It's been a long couple weeks. And just going through a whole lot of junk in my personal life right now. And it kind of has me thinking about one in particular. It's Matthew 11:28, and it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and tired and burdened, and I will give you rest." And I love that. That's such a powerful thing. And at the same time, it doesn't make sense. How would we going to God change anything? You know, it's if we're tired and we're having to work extra, or if we are just dealing with stuff going on and we can't balance everything and we can't get it right, and we are up at night because of that, going to God doesn't necessarily give us energy when we're tired. It doesn't make things different. And so it's one of those that kind of comes into question a lot. And the truth is, when we trust God with everything, and I mean everything, and not a trust as in, yeah, I'm going to tell you I trust you, but I'm going to hang on to this and this and this and these little parts that I want to do for me. I'll hang on to those, but I'll trust you with some of the small stuff. I'm not going to trust you with my money. Never with the money, because that's mine, right? But when we start to fully trust and fully submit and fully go after what God has called us to go after, we are fully focused on Him, some of that little stuff starts to fall away. And when we're stressed about work and we're stressed about things going on and we can't sleep, turning that over to God gives us that peace, and it gives us that joy in our life that it may have been blocked, it may have been stolen before by whatever it is that's distracting us and whatever it is that's taking us away from the things that we love and we care about. And so it's so much easier said than done. I can sit here all I want to and say, well, you know, if you just turn it over to the Lord, you'll be okay. But I say this as somebody who has been through financial difficulties, as somebody that's been through, you know, an unfaithful ex-wife and a divorce and all of that stuff, and somebody who is just dealing with different battles in my life and struggles constantly, day in and day out, and working a job that's 100% commission-based, and it's a blessing when it is good, and it is definitely a stressor when it is not. And so, you know, all those things day in and day out, and worrying about children and worrying about, my beautiful wife and what she has going on in her life, it all just starts to kind of wear you down over time. It starts to burden you and beat you down. And we're tired and we're worn out and we are weary and we're burdened. We can take it to the Lord and He gives us rest. So if you guys have something you were struggling with, something you were stressed out about, something that is just consuming you and making your life difficult on a day-to-day basis, pray about it and honestly seek what God's telling you to do. But don't worry about it another day. No matter what the situation is, no matter what's going on, you can either do something about it or you can't. Those are really the only two outcomes. So if you can do something about the situation, then do it and don't worry about it. And if you can't, you can't. So you don't need to worry about it either. There's no reason to worry, no reason to stress, and no reason not to get the rest that we need. Because God will take care of us and God will handle it no matter what. If you guys need help with that, there's something going on, feel free to reach out. We are always here for you, always happy to answer questions, to pray for you, to lift you up, to do anything we can do. And we are blessed to be a blessing to you guys and to help you out. Like I said, if there's everything you need, let me know. Deshido, I greatly appreciate you asking for a video on the fat tail geckos. I hope that helped you out and answered any questions. And yeah, I love you guys. I will catch you next time. Until then, I am tired. Until then, may you be blessed to be a blessing to those around you, and have an awesome and restful and just recovering and blessed weekend. Get some rest.